I never knew my Uncle Peter well. He was quiet, reclusive, the kind of person that always had too many TVs in one room and a shortwave radio tuned to static. When he died, I inherited his storage unit, Unit 411, out on Highway 9, because no one else in the family wanted to deal with it. He didn't have much, but what he had was strange. Old cathode TVs, stacks of labeled VHS tapes in cracked plastic sleeves, broadcast equipment, a wall of handwritten logs. It was like he'd tried to preserve a piece of television that no longer existed. Among the clutter was a dusty cardboard box labeled Chapter 103, Off-Air Archives, Do Not Review. Naturally, I took it home. Channel 103 rang a bell. It was a small public access station back in the 90s, shut down after a fire in the transmitter room. No one really talked about it. No online history, no recordings, no sign it ever existed outside local legend. So this box was a time capsule. I figured I'd digitize a few tapes for nostalgia's sake, maybe even post them on a retro forum. That night, I powered up one of Peter's old TVs. It still worked. Kind of. It let out a long, sickly whine before displaying a fuzzy blue screen. I loaded a tape marked 3/21/1995 Esh School Late Feed and pressed play. At first, static. But then the screen snapped into a distorted title card. Station 103, Final Nightly Broadcast, 03:33 a.m., March 22nd, 1995. A strange time for any broadcast to begin. The screen cut to black. Then something started. A man, tall, bald, wearing a weathered suit, stood against a gray background. His smile was too still. He didn't blink. Then he spoke. To the viewers still receiving, "This is not your signal. You are not authorized. Stop watching." The man on screen remained completely still after the warning, frozen for a full 2 minutes. I thought the tape had glitched, until his head snapped violently to the left and the feed cut to black again. What followed was worse. The screen began displaying text. White font, no voiceover, no sound at all. "This is not a test. Prepare for Phase 3. Evacuation is no longer an option." I paused the tape, rewound, played again, same exact sequence. I pulled the tape from the machine and checked the casing. Nothing unusual. I loaded another one. CH103, Chgi. Emergency playback, unscheduled, April 9th, 1995. Again, static. Then a high-pitched frequency, like a siren through a keyhole. The screen flickered violently, showing quick flashes of locations I didn't recognize. An empty classroom, a hallway full of rotary phones ringing off the hook, a woman staring at a mirror, but her reflection was smiling before she was. Then the man returned. This time he looked directly into the lens and said, "Do not look outside between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. If you hear your name, do not answer. If your reflection hesitates, do not blink." I paused it again. My heart was pounding, not just from fear, but from confusion. Who made this? For who? And why? And more importantly, how did Peter get these? I opened the last tape in the box. No label, no markings, just a red piece of tape on the front that read, "Do not play until instructed." That's when I noticed it. The same message now displayed on my TV screen. Even though the VCR was off. "Play it now!" There was no signal, no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. I disconnected everything, but the message stayed. "Play it now!" I grabbed the unmarked tape, trembling, and inserted it. The TV buzzed once, like it recognized something. No title card this time, just a countdown. 10, 9, 8. Each number was accompanied by a sound like a ticking clock slowed to half speed. 7, 6, 5. Static flickered like it was building pressure. 4, 3, 2, 1. Black screen, then the man again, but closer this time. Too close. You could see the veins in his eyes. "Now we see you." The feed went dark. The tape kept running, but no image, no audio, just a black void. I turned off the TV, but the screen didn't go off. It stayed black, but somehow on. Then I saw it, the faintest reflection. Not mine. Someone behind me. I turned, nothing there. But when I looked back, the TV showed a paused frame, a frame that had no business existing. It was my living room, from the ceiling corner, watching me from a perspective I didn't have access to. And on the screen, I was still sitting, but I hadn't moved. Only the other me did. It looked up and smiled, and whispered, though there was no sound. "You've tuned in." I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that frame, that impossible image of myself on screen, sitting perfectly still while I, the real me, stood watching. Only, I wasn't sure anymore which version was real. By morning, the TV had finally turned itself off, or maybe it just stopped pretending to be on. Either way, I unplugged everything. I left the apartment, took the tapes back to the storage unit where I'd found them. But when I got there, the entire box was already sitting outside the unit, waiting for me. I hadn't told anyone about them. I didn't leave them there the day before. But the box was there, and the tapes were different now. Instead of dates, each VHS was labeled with my name. Nathan, entry 2. Nathan, 333. Nathan, final. I didn't open the box. I ran. Back home, I tried to shake it off as sleep deprivation, hallucination, anything but real. I threw my phone in the drawer, powered down my laptop, covered the TV. But then, the images started coming back. Not on screens, in real life. Flickers in the corner of my vision, random objects displaced. My wall clock ticking backward for a full minute before resetting, my reflection staring a moment too long. The final straw came that evening. I received a phone call on a landline I didn't own. I answered. White noise. Then a voice, distorted and delayed, like it was passing through a broken satellite. "This is Channel 103. Phase 3 has begun. Do not ignore what's already inside the frame." The line went dead. My phone, which had been off, now displayed a missed call from 333. I began documenting everything, not for proof, no one would believe me, but for myself, to stay sane. I kept a notebook, logged every strange event. Patterns began to emerge. Every distortion occurred at 3:33 a.m. Every mirror behaved wrong, but only when I was alone. Every time I thought I heard my name, I'd turn and see my own back in the TV's reflection. I set up cameras in my apartment. Old ones, analog. I didn't trust digital anymore. That's when I made a discovery. The static wasn't random. If I recorded the noise from my TV and slowed it down, a hidden signal emerged. Faint voices, scrambled words. One repeated phrase kept surfacing. "Your signal is strong. You are ready. Return transmission." I found myself speaking aloud in my sleep. Recording myself revealed audio clips where I recited codes. Sequences of numbers I didn't understand. Coordinates. I checked the location. A field, outside town, where the Channel 103 broadcast tower used to be. I drove there at night, against every instinct. It was gone. Nothing but metal scraps and broken concrete. Except, I wasn't alone. At exactly 3:33 a.m., every light in my car went out. My phone died, my watch froze, and in the field I saw rows of TVs, dozens, lined up in silence. All of them turned on, all of them showing me. The return home wasn't really a return. Nothing was where it should be. Pictures on the wall now depicted places I'd never visited. Books on the shelf had different titles, different authors. My laptop contained files I never created. One folder stood out. Phase 3 complete. Inside were videos, dozens of them. All of me. Different days, different clothes. But I don't remember being recorded. Some showed me speaking. Others showed me sitting. One showed me sleeping. And in the background of every video, the same faint pattern of static noise moved like a second heartbeat. I played one at random. The version of me on screen turned and looked directly into the camera. "You're late. It's already broadcasting." I slammed the laptop shut. The moment I did, the lights in my apartment dimmed, then cut completely. Silence. Then, from the TV, which was unplugged, a whisper, so quiet it barely registered. But I heard it. "Nathan, turn around." I didn't. I couldn't. Instead, I reached for my notebook. I opened to the last page I'd written on. There was new writing, not mine. "Viewer identified. Sync successful. Final transmission pending. Prepare for Phase 4. I didn't sleep that night either. When dawn came, it didn't feel like dawn. The sky was a flat, desaturated gray, not cloudy, just empty. No sound outside, not even wind. It felt like I was in a set, a space pretending to be the world. I turned the TV toward the wall, just to be safe. That's when I noticed the static wasn't on the screen anymore. It was in the reflection, in the window. A faint flicker in the glass, pulsing. I approached cautiously. In the reflection, I saw him, the same man from the original broadcast. Only this time he wasn't speaking through tape. He was inside my living room. I turned, heart hammering. The room was empty, but in the reflection, he was still standing there, smiling. I reached toward the window, and as my fingers touched the glass, the static intensified. Not visually, but in my skull, like a pressure behind the eyes. I staggered back. On my desk, the VHS box had returned. I never brought it home. The tapes were gone. Replaced by one single cartridge. Nathan, Final Transmission. I didn't want to play it. I already knew what it contained. But I did. Because the screen turned on before I touched anything. Because it wanted to begin. The tape started with silence. Then, breathing, not mine. On screen, a black background. Slowly, white text faded in. Phase 4 initiated. Transmission active. Feed, Nathan.001. Then, my apartment. Lev, real time. Camera angle, high corner, one I couldn't access. I saw myself sitting, watching the screen. But again, I wasn't moving. Only the version on screen blinked. Then he, the other me, slowly raised his hand and pointed at the screen. At me. Then the screen flickered. Each flicker showed something else. A hospital room, empty, heart monitor flatlined, a burning broadcast tower, rows of people staring at screens in complete silence, a figure with no face, staring back, a mirror, and my reflection smiling without me. Then, the man in the suit returned. No more warnings, just a statement. The system has replicated. You were the broadcast. There is no viewer, only signal. Then the screen went black, but I could still hear the breathing, and it was behind me. I don't remember turning off the TV, but it was off now. Room silent, except for one sound, my voice, from the hallway. I walked slowly toward it. Every step felt like wading through static. My skin buzzed. My thoughts weren't thoughts anymore, just fragments of phrases from the tapes. I reached the bathroom. The mirror was fogged. No shower had run. I wiped it. In the reflection, I saw myself, still in the living room, not moving, not reacting, just watching. I turned back. My body was gone. I was only in the mirror now, staring, mouth twitching. The TV turned itself back on. The man in the suit reappeared. He looked at the screen, then straight into the camera, into you, and said, "Another signal acquired. You shouldn't have watched this far, but you did. And now," he smiled. The screen flickered once more, now showing you, the viewer, wherever you are, whatever screen you're using. Just a frame, just for a second. But enough for the system to see you, to map your eyes, your room, your reflection. Thank you for tuning in. The signal will now continue, through you. And then, silence. But if your screen flickers tonight at 3:33, you'll know it wasn't just interference. You'll know it's your turn.